All right, welcome into another edition of the Field of 68 2024 NBA Draft Prospect Profiles. And we're joined by former NBA player Shelvin Mack, now with CBS Sports Network, presented by Unified Healing. And today we look at a guy that's in the mix, maybe for the #1 overall pick, 6'10", Zaccharie Risacher. Hopefully I said that right. Played in France this past season. Shelvin, you know him pretty well. I don't know how you know him pretty well, but I think you know his game pretty well. So I can't wait for you to break down his game and teach me and other people a little more about what Zach is all about. I know he's 6'10". I know he was born in Spain. I know his dad played pro in Spain, but ultimately moved to France, where he averaged about 10 points this past year for Jail Borges? I don't know how you pronounce that one either. But tell me about his game first, and his biggest strengths as a player are what?
Zach, know him. I've been knowing him for a while. We have the same agent, so a lot of times he comes to Atlanta, I'm able to work with him, show him some different American stuff. Overseas you get a lot of stuff packed in the paint. But it's a guy 6'10", very versatile, can do multiple things on the court. He could be a primary ball handler if he has a mismatch with a big guard on him. And also can be a secondary ball handler as the ball moving side to side, can play a 4-5 pick and roll. He has the size, the length, and the ability to guard 1 through 4. I think it's going to be his biggest asset going to a team next year. Is watch a lot of NBA playoffs right now. Players between 6'7" and 6'10", throw him out there on the court and able to figure out. We don't know what position it could be. It could be a 2, 3, or a 4. It's dependent on the team. So I love that versatility that he brings. And just being a pro at such a young age. Last year, played for Asbel, which is in the Euro League. It was Tony Parker's team. So he was able to play at a very high level, transition down, playing Euro Cup. You're able to see the growth. And this is a young kid at 19. I'm just so excited to see his upside, coming to NBA with the floor space.
Is he more of like a pick and pop 4? Like what? I know you're saying he can play some 2, 3, 4. He's got versatility. Like, where is he at his best right now? And I know that's hard because he's young. He's 19. Like 19, my guess is he's going to be nowhere. I remember Jason Tatum when he was 19 and he was scared to go to the basket and he didn't have the body that he has now. So it's always hard to project with these kids. But what do you look at and say, like, all right, he can give an NBA team this in the next few years?
Yeah, so it's completely different than Jason Tatum. I don't want to throw that out there. Jason Tatum's a great player.
I'm just saying his body. I'm just saying these kids' bodies at 19 are not what they're going to be at 24, 25.
100%, I agree with that. But I think it's a guy that can come in right now. If he goes #1, you have to have the expectation it's not going to be 20 points a game. I'm going to give him the ball in the mid-post, ISO, go score. That's not his game and his ability. He's a player that's going to get you 8 to 14 points, whether it's 2 offensive rebounds, put back, still on defense, getting out in transition. He's one of those type player. And when you put him on the court, he's able to just to figure it out. So you kind of have the expectation there. Hopefully, as he continues to grow and develop as a player, he could be a point forward. That's what I see him down the line. As you see a lot with Franz Wagner in Orlando. Remember Hedo Turkoglu, Rashad Lewis. When you're able to put him in those kind of situations and be able to create a mismatch because of his length. 6'10", you can bring the point guard to come in, ball screen. If I'm guarding him, I'm going to hedge, I'm going to switch. Then he has an advantage that can help the whole team out.
How good a shooter? How good of a perimeter shooter is he? Like, I know he shot 35 from 3 this past season in France. Is he one of those guys that, again, can put on the floor some, can shoot it well enough, can score in the post a little bit, but he looks pretty slender and thin when I watch him on tape.
It's very thin. I think it's one of the things you have to work on, getting the NBA weight room, putting on 10 to 20 pounds of muscle. I think it's going to go a long way in his career. But he's more of a catch and shoot, stand still, 3-point shooter. this year he's able to take more chances and expand his game. So he can come off a pick and roll. I wouldn't expect him to come off and let it fly, but come off, get downhill, and create plays for other guys. You can also have him just spot up, depending on your team. I know a lot of people talking about the Hawks with the #1 pick. I think he'll fit well with them. With Trae Young and Dejounte, be able to get in the paint and kick it out. I think he knocks it down well enough to keep everyone honest. Also, I think you can have him play in a pick and roll. Imagine him dribbling the ball and Trae Young's come set. Like now we can create an advantage and be able to put a lot of pressure on the rim, get into the paint touches, spray out. As you see, that's what's continue to happen with the NBA game.
Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of The Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/UNIFYD, the number 6, the number 8. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
His weaknesses, I mean, again, we talked about it. Strength is a weakness right now, no doubt.
Yes.
What else? What else worries you about him?
Being able to create your own shot. When you're a top 5 pick, that's something you have to be able to do. You have to be able to make timely buckets when the coach can't draw a play up. And that's one thing I think he has to work on. And it's getting comfortable, just getting more reps. Overseas in Europe, it's not a lot of ISO or situations where you have to do that. In the NBA, we see it time and time over again. Jason Tatum gets the ball on the elbow, got to be able to create a shot at a high level over and over again. So that's one thing he does not have in his game right now. But other than that, I think he's a complete player. Like I said, the strength is going to be something he has to work on. When he was able to do that, I think he'd be at the greatest ISO game. Have enough strong base to sit there at the elbow and be patient. Right now, it's too thin. He can get pushed off his spot. I think that's where it comes into play.
Defensively, too early to tell. I mean, I know obviously some of these kids coming over, from overseas, might be an adjustment on that defensive end. Again, when you add in the fact that he doesn't have a lot of bulk to him, I assume he's going to have trouble early in the league.
I wouldn't say so. I think his length maxed up for his strength. He's very long wingspan. I want to say it's at least 7 foot, 7'1". So he's able to make up a lot of ground. He has the agility to stay in front of point guards. As a point guard, someone 6'10", able to move, it's going to be tough. And he plays with energy. A lot of energy.
Does he? Really?
Yes. Reminds me a lot of like Trevor Risacher would be another player coming.
Okay.
Denying the passing lanes, is able to get easy basket and timely baskets for your team that can impact the game in more ways than scoring. So when you see him, understand that.
So Trevor Risacher, Rashard Lewis, I'm certainly thinking, of a certain type of player at this point. It doesn't scream to me #1 overall pick, but I don't know who does in this draft. That's the hard part. You look at all these guys, and it's almost unfair because right now you're saying one of these guys is going to have that on of being the #1 overall pick and having that pressure, and people are going to think, they should come out of the gates and be an NBA All-Star. Is this kid, and you've been around him a little bit, around Zach. Is
Yeah.
he ready for that type of pressure? Potentially, whether it's number 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, there's going to be some pressure, even though it's not a great draft.
Yes, I think he's prepared for that. Playing in France, you got to think he played for the Michael Jordan of France, Tony Parker. Next young kid coming up. And you see over the years, there's a lot of French players who's very good. Sarr. So he's dealing with that all the time with the national team. So I think he's prepared for the pressures of that. And he has a great mindset. Just come out there, do my job, play as hard as I can, and let the chips fall. And I think that's what's made him been able to elevate throughout this whole process of the draft.
All right, so give me the best case scenario for Zach, and maybe the worst case scenario, which for some of these foreign kids, you never hear from him again. I think it sounds like you're going to hear from him again, but he could be anything from a second unit guy to an NBA starter and a guy who averages 15, 18 a game.
Yes, I said base case scenario, body frame, and like the ability is Mikal Bridges. Okay. That's a guy who over time developed, being a one-on-one scorer, be able to create his own shot, but get to his spots, and defensively able to change ball games. I see a lot of that in Zach. Worst case scenario, I don't like doing worst case, but this be a great role player, bench player to come in, can play multiple positions, and if the coach need a spark, he'll be able to provide that.
All right, there you have it. The breakdown from Shelvin Mack of a player that he's worked out with, that he knows well, Zaccharie Risacher from France, and a guy who's in the equation here for the #1 overall pick as we get closer to the NBA draft. Make sure you watch all of our NBA draft prospect profiles here on the Field of 68, presented by Unified Healing.